be taking a few minutes to talk over the elements of narrative and what makes a narrative effective. This is part of our overall Unit 3, which is looking at narrative and argument and how those two pieces tie together in order to make our arguments and our positions more effective when we tell our own stories or tell the stories of others. So all narratives are going to have 5 elements. The first element in a narrative is a clearly identified event. The event can be anything, truly, but it's the idea that we're defining and telling what that particular event or that moment was. The second piece of a narrative is going to be a clear description of the setting. Where is it taking place? Why does that matter? Why is that particular setting important to our overall story? The next piece can take a variety of different means, but it's the idea that we've got some vivid details. We've got some very specific details that can support why this narrative is important, why this story matters. So what are the details? How does it create a picture in our mind? How does it overall describe and support what is going on and where it is happening and why it's important? Fourth, we've got a consistent point of view. Who is narrating our story? Who's telling the story? Why does their perspective matter? And when we're thinking about who is telling the story, we're also thinking about what are their blind spots, what do they know, what can they possibly not know in overall of the story from their perspective. With the idea that perspective matters. And lastly, a story should have a point to it. What is the point of the story? If we're thinking about children's books often have allegory in them. They have a moral to the story. They have an overall point. They have a lesson to be learned. While that's not true for all narratives that are told, most often there is going to be a point of the story or why we're actually telling this. How does this story effectively contribute to our better understanding or our argument that we have going on? Those are our 5 elements.